So the area between two curves is the integral from A to B, whatever region you're looking for, and it is always going to be the top curve. So the F here represents your top curve, and then your G of X represents your bottom curve. Now, if a function switches where at one point the F curve is on top, and then at a different location they switch and then the G curve goes on top, we are going to have to account for that. So the area between two curves, you just want to think about it as the integral from A to B, whatever regions, of the top curve minus the bottom curve. So let's take a look at an example. It says R is the region bounded by the above graph. So f of x is x plus 4, it's on top. G of x is 3 minus x over 2, and it is underneath it from 1 to 4. Okay, so we're just basically going from 1 to 4. Okay, so that's why the f of x function is always on top. The g of x function is always on the bottom. So if you go ahead and if we graph that, if we look at the graph, it is the integral from 1 to 4 of our f of x function minus our g of x function. Now that's because f of x is always on top. So let's replace our functions in there. So that's x plus 4 minus 3 minus x over 2. Now you are subtracting the entire g of x function. So when you are subtracting the g of x function, make sure that you remember to distribute that negative. So it's going to be x plus 4 minus 3 plus, and I'm going to write that as 1/2 x. Now, in any integration, you should always try to make things as simple as you possibly can. So by combining like terms, we have 3/2 x plus 1 dx. Now, this just requires a basic, simple antiderivative. So the antiderivative of 3/2 would be 3/2 times x squared over 2. The antiderivative of 1 is just x, and we are evaluating that from 1 to 4. Now, if we do that, we get 3x squared over 4 plus x. Make it as simple as you can. Let's plug in our boundaries. That would be 16 divided by 4 is 4 times 3 is 12 plus 4. Now we're going to plug in 1 minus 3/4 plus 1. Make sure that you are subtracting the entire thing. So you'll notice I put a parenthesis around those to remind you that we are going to subtract that. So it's going to be 16 minus 3/4 minus 1, which is 15 minus 3/4, or 14 1/4. So that's how we find the region between two curves.